Professor Collier, does this make a tangible, significant difference to the migration and refugee issue in Europe?
Not really. I mean, more importantly, it doesn't make much of a difference to the real refugee problem, which is the displacement of millions of Syrians. Most of those millions are in Jordan, in Turkey, in Lebanon, and that's where we need to be focusing European resources. And this is just a distraction, I think motivated by Germany's attempt to lay the ghosts of its own dark past.
Right. Ska Keller, do you think this makes a tangible difference to the refugee problem?
Yes, I think it does. Of course, it's correct to say that 120,000 are a very, very small number compared to the many people that have to flee from Syria and other places. But for the EU, it's an important step forward because, as also your colleagues have been pointing out earlier, we, for the first time probably in the Home Affairs area, we had a decision with qualified majority. It's now accepted. There needs to be a solidarity mechanism. So this can, or at least can be, maybe it is not, but it can be the start. It has the potential to be the start of a greater reform. This is what we really need. And it's very important to help those states, Greece and Italy notably, who are at the forefront, and that the others accept this responsibility is a significant step forward.
Right, significant. Hold that thought, because I want to come back to the kind of constitutional side of it, but just on the sort of the degree to which the 120,000 quotas will make a difference. You don't think it's significant, Paul Collier. What would you prefer? What is the better approach? What's the alternative?
Look, there are 10 million displaced Syrians so far. It may go up from that. What we really need to do is provide the displaced people with much better lives in Jordan, in Turkey, in Lebanon. Those are the places that matter because, first of all, they're the places that are easy for the displaced to get to. Europe is this, Germany's lured people to pay criminal gangs, get on boats, some of them drown, come to Germany. That is an irresponsible thing to do, which many thousands have done, but it's the millions that are back that inevitably can't make that journey, don't want to make that journey. They, at the moment, are treated very badly with a system that hasn't really been changed the way we handle refugees since 1947. In particular, they're not allowed to work. What refugees need is a chance to earn a living in these places, in Jordan, in Turkey, in Lebanon.
Right. Let me put that to Ska Keller.
Europe needs to put money to make that happen.
Let me put that to Ska Keller, that this policy that we've now got is distracting and potentially damagingly distracting.
I don't really think so. There is people who have been coming to Europe for years, for many years, from Syria but also elsewhere, because indeed they're looking for a long-term perspective that they can't find in Syria and Iraq and Eritrea somewhere. And we need to be able, as European Union, to first of all ensure legal and safe access for those refugees, but also distribute them fairly among the member states and deal with their asylum claims. Because we all have signed up to the Geneva Convention. We all promised to protect people in international need. We cannot say, you better stay in Turkey and Jordan, live in those refugee camps and try to get by. No, Europe has to be open. And by the way, the relocation scheme was also not a German invention. We have 28 member states, not just one that says things. It's the Commission that proposed it.
Sorry to interrupt you, but do you accept, Ska Keller, that there is such a thing as the pull factor? That if you invite people to come and say we're going to let you in and there are no strings, that you do pull people who may not be as much in need as some of those who've come?
I'm very sorry, but if you're bombed in your hometown, you don't need any pull factor. You're pushed.
And how many do you think of the people who've arrived in Germany this year are people of that description, and how many do you think are classic economic migrants?
Well, actually, what we see is classic refugees coming. There is, of course, it's changing who's coming, etc. But we have very clear definition of who's a refugee. We have actually European laws around that. So we do have European common standards, at least minimum standards that need to be followed. So that is very clear.
Okay.
Besides that, we also have the problem that we don't have a European system for economic migration, which we would also need in Europe. For that, we don't have a system. We urgently need to establish that. But we cannot forget that we're seeing a refugee crisis. The people who are coming here, the vast majority are people who are in need of international protection, and we need to provide that protection.
Okay, we're running out of time. Paul Collier, just what proportion of those currently in the, say, the 120,000 being talked about today are refugees? What proportion migrants in your view?
Look, one of the things that happened is that as the genuine refugees try to get to Germany through the Balkans, many young people in the Balkans, seeing people go through to Germany, are saying, why not us? And so it's ignited an exodus from the Balkans. It's nothing to do with conflict, but around the world, the message has been heard, come to Germany. Germans themselves are now mutinying against that, and so in a rather heavy-handed way, Germany has forced other European countries to an act of solidarity on Germany's terms.
Just a quick last one for you, Ska, on the constitutional issue. The implication is that Europe is telling countries like Slovakia that they have to do something that they often do not want to do, something really quite important to the notion of a sovereign state.
I absolutely disagree with what Professor Collier said. The European Union is built and founded on solidarity. All the member states have voluntarily signed up to that. And all of us have to give and receive solidarity whenever it's necessary. Now it's time to give solidarity to Greece and Italy, and I would say also Hungary. But Hungary did not want to have solidarity shown to it. We have to accept that. And the 120,000, by the way, that are going to be relocated are those that are considered to be very likely to be refugees.
Ska, Paul Collier, thank you both very much.